hopefully going to be going for walks a little more often. So I had originally thought that the big planets were on the summer side of the Earth's path around the sun, and that the more empty side was the winter side, but it's exactly the opposite. So it seems, as far as the currents go, the faster the current, the colder the planet. And that's in relation, or I should say it's proven, and that's in quotes because it's like, and it's still theoretical, but the solar wind moves faster and becomes less dense on its way out, away from the sun. And the planets that are further away from the Earth have interesting natures, but they're considered in colder areas of space, even though the wind is moving much, much faster. The energy in the wind, the heat in the wind is less, because as things spread out, it's just normal pressure type science. So like, an air pressure is compressed, it increases its heat, and as it decompresses, it loses its heat. So, the plasma, probably one of the reasons why they use a lot of fluid dynamic science with it is because the nature of it's very similar, and the nature of the physical world is probably directly related to the nature of the plasma that it's made of. But the currents of this whole solar system, so the plasma that is probably more abundant on the gas giant side allows for the current to move faster because plasma is a conductor, and by moving faster it draws heat away from the Earth, at least from the parts of the Earth that we like to be warmer. And that's only for the northern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere is actually warmer, but it's also directed at the sun, so it's collecting more plasma, or more plasma? Yeah, more heat from the plasma from the sun. But, there's a lot more dynamics with all that, the magnetic fields and the flow of energy into and out of the Earth. You can look all that up. A lot of it, I've watched videos on the Thunderbolts project that goes over all that stuff, and it's always surprising. It's rarely what anybody assumes it's going to be, but it still makes sense because it's reality, so it has to make sense. It's just reality teaches us things we didn't understand, if it's a new discovery, and it helps us understand reality better. So I just thought that was interesting, that the path around the sun that the Earth takes, the warmer side, and this is just the summer for the northern hemisphere, is on the side that the big planets aren't on. So, I guess you could say that there isn't really a hotter or colder side, but I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the Earth is more active on the sides that are in their winter phase, because they're not absorbing the plasma pressure required to keep the energy in the Earth, or more stable through the underground of the Earth, and I guess in the atmosphere too. And when the Earth changes the side that the sun is aimed at, that's when we get more weather, crazier weather, because it's like a smaller version of the poles flipping, like the sun does every 11 years. In between the cycles, as the poles are flipping, the sunspots appear a lot more. It's difficult to say. It's a really complex subject, but mainly the point is I was wrong about the whole, winter side and summer side of the Earth. It has more to do with the overall weather and the Earth's connection to the sun and how it relates to the energy going into and out of the Earth. There's a lot of videos on the Thunderbolts project. I've been rewatching a lot of them because my other account that I had put them under favorites in was deleted because I used too many bad words. And, I'm an enemy of the corporate HR department state, for using so many bad words and making people who need thicker skin feel bad. Had some people walking by. I didn't want to look like a weirdo recording stuff on my phone. And I like being able to say hi to people. And I don't like recording it. So yeah. There's a lot, there's a lot more to that. I should say there's a lot more that mainstream science doesn't seem to understand about weather and the currents and their effect on events on the Earth. Although, old-fashioned science looks at comets, because they show activity in the solar system by being active. It's like a storm in space, along with the alignments of the planets, have a lot to do with what goes on the Earth. A lot of that's in the realm of fortune tellers, that put a little too much in human behavior on those kind of things when, human behavior is a lot more superficial and related to things like, like as far as birth personality goes, it's like when is your birthday and how is society during that time of the year, So especially if the society isn't healthy or, it can't maintain its health through the year, there's more difference in people who are born in different times of the year depending on when they were gestating, in the womb and the kind of nutrients they had available, but, and then, our birthdays define a lot of our personality because of the cultural moods during those times of the year, and the importance of birthdays to people. So, otherwise it really doesn't, it's like the harmonics don't really make that much of a difference. The main harmonics of humans is the Earth, Sun, Moon connection. The other planets have more of a psychological effect. If you didn't know it, it wouldn't matter kind of thing. More of a superficial behavior kind of thing than an ingrained drive, instinct, or anything like that. And then that's only true with people who don't have a working connection to the creator consciousness within their own consciousness. And our consciousness is held within our physical body. It's not a supernatural thing. So the ability of us to make the most of our consciousness and to know the connection to the creator has everything to do with mental health, physical mental health, and, mood has a lot to do with it, but mood affects our physical mental health, so it still comes down to physical mental health, so, trying to feel good doesn't necessarily help, because if it's just a facade to make other people happy, deep down you're still going to be in pain and you're still going to feel lost. It's just, the fake good guys force everybody to hide it because they can't deal with real problems. And everybody else and their moods are their problem, according to their, thinking. Anyways, 10 minutes. It's a good thing this is going on YouTube. I got a half hour to talk, that nobody will listen to or ever hear, because they got AI doing everything now, so I can't even influence the people who run social media. So, God forbid. But, because the closest thing I have to conversations, philosophical conversations, are people judging and assuming I'm wrong, and I'm trying to create anarchy and all this other dumb bullshit, based on retard profiling and retard science and retard logic. People who've been led to believe by most of the intellectuals that what's logic is true, when in actuality logic is more just a theory. It might be true, but people treat it like it's true. Just because it's logical doesn't mean it's true. That's why people are so easy to lie to. It's like, I can understand why people would believe in flat earth, but I'm not going to promote it. But I am going to defend people who believe in it, because there's actual, real true things that make the standard wisdom questionable, because shit can be faked easily. Our ability to prove things go right in line with our ability to fake things. So, of course it's going to be hard for people to believe if they don't have firsthand knowledge, and a lot of people who think they have firsthand knowledge, create that understanding with assumptions and treating theories like they're facts. So it's completely biased, and then they force everyone to accept that it's unbiased because they use the scientific method. But the scientific method was used by people to prove that the coronavirus is actually really dangerous, because one of the tests tested it in watermelons. Now, instead of using actual logic and saying, well, that just shows that the tests are useless. No. What it actually means is the coronavirus can get into vegetables. But pointing out that coronaviruses look just like spores, and that funguses exist in the microcellular world as life forms without cell walls that infect other cells and reproduce inside other cells like viruses, and hijack DNA and hijack animals even, they make bugs do weird things just so that the fungus can reproduce. But what do I know? I'm just using actual facts that exist. I'm no expert, except I am trained to audit. I'm trained to audit science. I'm trained to audit whatever it is that I've learned. Whatever field I learn about, I can audit. And auditing has to do, one of the things that auditing does is, we aren't subject matter experts. We're trained to find subject matter experts so that we can come up with the best solutions possible, and to be as objective as possible, so that when we're wrong we can immediately change course, so that we're not stuck in any kind of ideology or way of thinking about things. So, but social media science and influencer science and mainstream science doesn't follow any of those scientific guidelines at all, even though they're supposed to. What they are is a bunch of whores and johns going around, with their degrees or with their self-made education, going around proving how stupid everybody is, because their culture exploits stupid people, and it needs stupid people in order to survive. It needs those suckers born every minute, and if suckers aren't born every minute, some of them will end up poisoning a whole society just to make more suckers. You know, that's how things have always been, you know, in the modern empires that have existed for millennia. You know, no matter how few people there are, there's always too many people and not enough resources, because when you're running everything like a plantation and you're in charge of all the resources, of course there's never enough resources, especially when you need to refresh the population, because the suckers are getting too stupid to the point where, you know, they're a liability. And then other groups of people who aren't suckers realize they need to fight back, you know, so the people who run everything just rally the lynch mob to go around in fake righteousness and destroy what they call evil, which is just anybody who criticizes them. You know, anybody who doesn't act the way they claim they need to act, even though the way they need to act changes constantly, because their lynch mob keeps finding out the people leading the lynch mob are just like the people that they claim everybody else is. And then suddenly the leaders of the lynch mob start saying, oh, well, maybe we need to be more, you know, accepting of things. And then you end up with society becoming the way it is now, you know, where everybody starts coming out of the closet because they think that everybody's supposed to be starting to accept everything. You know, they don't know why the secrets were being kept in the first place, because everybody's the suckers born every minute. You know, they're not really leaders, they're the slaves, you know. So we've got house N-word slaves leading everybody else, except all they're really doing is showing off for their fellow house N-words around the world. You know, trying to enforce this global way of being. You know, it's complex, it's complicated. It's too complicated for a video like this. It's more something that is easier to explain in a conversation, you know. Because me questioning what I'm saying isn't good enough for the conversation, you know, because my understanding of things and my understanding and usage of grammar isn't going to be the same as others, you know. So it's like, you know, I can explain things as clear as I think I can, but it doesn't mean anybody else is going to be able to understand what I'm saying or take it the way that I mean it. And this is a problem everybody actually has, that they don't realize that they have, because there's too many people who pretend that they understand, you know, and the people who are talking don't know how little everybody actually understands, because they don't really know how much they don't understand, you know, because everybody's kind of talking to themselves, just like me. So anyways, getting into populated areas. Love y'all.